It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catalfamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome back to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. I'd like to thank you for joining me. On today's show, we are joined by Flagstaff Mayor Paul Deasy, and we are going to be talking about the city of Flagstaff. Mayor Deasy, welcome onto the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We are very happy to have you. Like we mentioned, there's a lot going on in the city of Flagstaff, and why not go to the source, the head honcho for the city, the mayor. So let's start off with this. Obviously, you've come into this position fairly recently, taking over for previous mayor Coral Evans. You're a Flagstaff native. I mean, what got you interested in politics? What made you want to run for the position?
Oh, well, yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, I've been involved in politics since I was very little. I was raised in it. So I was marching on Washington the first time at 9 years old. So I just kind of came with the territory and went to school to get grad degrees in economics as well as political science, and just have been involved in the political scene for a while. And, you know, I ran because a lot of people were wanting some new ideas, a different perspective. And I hadn't held elected office before becoming mayor, but that to a lot of people I feel was a refreshing change. It wasn't just still business as usual, because that's kind of what we need to do. We need some real active change, try new things, and really, you know, modern day problems require modern day solutions.
Yes, very much so. What did you do before you decided to run for office?
Oh, I worked in data analytics. So I was at the university helping to run the numbers for executives to make more data-driven decisions. Before that, with the National Science Foundation and in general, just how to analytically allocate resources to get to our policy goals. So that kind of helped me prepare for this type of position, that we're really analyzing how we're getting there, not just where we want to go.
So definitely seeing it more from, like you mentioned, that analytical aspect to sort of that logistical aspect of going, okay, well, here are the numbers, here's what we can actually do, and here's what the capacity of what we could genuinely accomplish. And what a great resource for the city. I feel like a lot of maybe those city plans and those city options they do come with a lot of analytics, and I would assume that they do come with a lot of those like logistical questions.
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, we're talking a $330 million budget that we're digging into and having to allocate and sometimes get creative with to resolve issues we're facing, like mitigating flooding and so forth. That was very unexpected, and a lot of other issues. So it does take a lot of technical expertise, but honestly, that's more city staff's technical expertise, not my own. But it helps to have somebody who's asking good questions, who understands those technicalities, or providing another idea.
No, of course. And you mentioned the flooding issues. We will talk a little bit about some of the flooding that we saw up in Flagstaff in a little bit. But, you know, I'm curious, you know, have you been enjoying the position? I feel like, you know, we were talking a little bit off air, but I feel like the mayoral position kind of gets this, like, at least for me, maybe I'm the only one who's associating, but I always imagine like a mayor is just like going to building openings and shaking hands and is more of like more of kind of like an event. He shows up for an event, or she shows up for an event, and they just kind of do the event and leave. But you know, we were talking, and you're a lot more hands-on, and a lot of our mayors here in northern Arizona and throughout the whole state of Arizona are a lot more hands-on than we initially anticipate. So, you know, can we talk about some of those things that you're involved in as a mayor?
Yeah, I mean, there's you know, only so much that happens at the dais, and yeah, kissing babies. I got my own. I bring them to kiss. Ribbon cuttings, those kinds of things. But I really care about what I see as the real work of the position, which is, in general, solving people's problems. You never know what kind of emails and messages you get from folks of everything from trying to get out of a domestic violence situation, you know, a COVID outbreak happening in their multifamily housing unit, not knowing where else to go because they're elderly and immunocompromised.
Right.
I mean, you never know what is going to come, and I feel it's my job to solve those problems, to create the connections, to do everything I can to give people the resources they need. So, yeah, I think it's good to be giving people the individual attention I love being in a position where I can help solve those problems, where I can make just one call and be like,
right.
Look, we need to get this done. This needs to be done by tonight because this person is in an unhealthy situation. So it's just, that's what I love about the job, is being able to help people solve their problems or get them the connections they need for assistance. And I feel that's really the main part of the job.
Well, you talk about that, making that connection. I mean, you're pretty active on social media. I follow you on Twitter. I see you're posting about city issues, some pretty funny opinions here and there. But, I think you're
like
very,
a little humor in my approach.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. No, I mean, my point is that you're very involved in the community. You're very it's easy to connect with you. I'm sure it's probably fairly easy to shoot you a DM on Twitter or to message you on Twitter, and they would get a response from you. So I want to ask, is that something that you wanted to make sure was very important, that you had that outlet for residents to sort of directly contact you and make sure that hey, I'm here, I have a presence here. If I'm not directly in your neighborhood, I'm around, I'm accessible. Was that kind of important to you? And do you feel that we should see more of that, where you're getting more of that direct connection with a lot of your city officials or even state officials?
Absolutely. And that was actually a key part of my campaign, was communication. Because that's what we hear so much, is we don't know what's going on at City Hall. Why were these decisions made without the outreach or anything else? I like to inform people, hey, on Tuesday, here's what we're going to be talking about. Check it out streaming, and here's how to message us. Yeah. And to make sure that public are involved in the decisions, or at least have the opportunity to, because they actually have some idea on what's going on. This is also how we hold our politicians accountable, which was also a key part of my campaign previously, and what I've been working on since being in office. Right. And especially in emergencies, we've had many of wildfire and flooding and other issues. This isn't the only year, though. This year was pretty hard. Really hard.
Yes.
But in those situations, you need somebody in leadership who's communicating, this is what you do. If you get an emergency alert, do X, Y, and Z. Or if you're having problems with fire smoke and you have asthma, we have the ability to get you an air filter to help you. We need mayors and so forth who are on the ground. I mean, I was out once or twice a week this summer filling sandbags and clearing debris out of people's homes, and you need that kind of leadership in emergencies where people are seeing you there. And I got messages saying that, hey, I didn't know this event was going on, to volunteer, and a half a dozen NAU students showed up and said, hey, I saw it on your social media that you were out here and we were wanting to meet you and help out. So this is a really important key, this communication towards helping our community in general, not just communicating from a political stance, but being able to activate the community to help each other, neighbor to neighbor.
I think that's fantastic, and I love the connectivity of it. You talk about some of those museum, the flooding issues. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the museum burn scar and the flooding issues that Flagstaff had, and what the city is doing to sort of mitigate those issues in the future. We are speaking with Flagstaff Mayor Paul Deasy right here on Countywide. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe, even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero-Res. Zero-Res uses state-of-the-art technology and ZR water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on your home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZeroResNorthernArizona.com.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
I want to welcome you back here to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. On today's show, we are talking about the city of Flagstaff, and we are joined by Flagstaff Mayor Paul Deasy. In the first segment, we talked a little bit about what got Mayor Deasy interested in politics and what kind of made him want to run for this position. But one of the biggest issues, Mayor Deasy, that we've obviously all been involved in for a while is monsoon flooding. The museum burn scar caused a lot of issues up in Flagstaff. You talked about being on the ground floor with a lot of these residents and helping to fill sandbags and help put sandbags to guard their homes, to clear out debris. I mean, there was so much mitigation we were trying to do, but that burn scar really caused a lot of issues up there. So I'd love to talk about, what is the city now doing in the future to help sort of mitigate those issues going forward? Obviously, flooding is going to continue to be a problem because it still rains on planet Earth, thankfully. But I want to ask, you mentioned off air about a technological advancement that could maybe helping with this issue, but what is the city doing to help mitigate these problems?
There's a lot of work that's been done and a lot of work still to do. So folks know in 2019 we had the museum fire, which was right up on our mountain. Hit a major watershed. This summer we got hit with 4 floods associated. One of them was over a 200-year flood, meaning that only once happens every 200 years. It tore through our neighborhoods. We had to get sandbags out, protect them, lots of homes damaged. And it's a real problem. I mean, when you have it on a fire scar, well, it creates up to 10 times more power. So it's shooting even farther, more debris is coming down, clogging all our culverts, having to dig them out before the next rain hits the next day. And it's been really traumatizing to our residents who are, some of them are living behind 6 feet of sandbags.
Yep.
And people shouldn't have to live like that. So, but obviously it costs a pretty penny to be able to resolve or at least mitigate some of these issues. So thankfully, though, in the last month, we really the county flood control district and was able to secure $7 million to help reduce sediment coming down off the mountain into the town, which helps us really well because no matter how big of culverts and so forth you can build, it's going to get clogged up with sediment. So that was kind of the first step. One of our schools was irreparably damaged during the flood. We've just torn that down, but what we're doing now is working to create that as a detention basin. So that way when the rain comes, it collects there rather than spreading out through the neighborhood, flooding homes. So we're trying to be smart about it. We've already, on our plan at the city level, have put together $6 million plus from our coffers to address this issue. We have $7 million coming from the federal government through the flood control. And but in general, this is a huge project. This is $25 million that we're trying to chunk out. And I mean, it's not fast enough. People should not have to live behind sandbags. People in wheelchairs who can't get into their homes. People with disabled children who, just bringing your groceries into the house, trying to climb over sandbags, and then leaving your car in the street. Now winter's coming when snowplows are going to be blocking them in. So there's a lot of problems that comes from it. But we are working really hard, our engineering, our partnerships with the Forest Service, with the county. We've made some real headway, considering the last flood was mid-August, that now by November had really figured out how to, for the most part, get $12 million to try to address it. So a lot of work done, a lot of work still to do, but we're up to.
I remember seeing videos of all those sandbags piled up in front of people's homes and that water rushing past it. And I remember watching a Prius get taken down the street in Flagstaff. But you're right, that flooding does.
That was 3 blocks. That was 3 blocks down my street.
Oh, really?
My fence got blown out with the flooding. So.
Well, it's crazy, and I love. I believe it was. I hope I don't pronounce the name wrong, but Killip Elementary School, I believe, was the school that had unfortunately needed to close its doors because of the flooding damage. But that's great. So you guys are going to be, if I'm hearing you correctly, using that sort of as like sort of a collection area, as like a retention wall almost. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're turning it into soccer fields and areas for. Nice extension of the public park, but that works in both ways. We can have fields, we can have an enjoyment, but then when the flood happens, we can't have that water sitting on the cement and flying down the street towards people's homes. This will create a basin where we can have that water pool and then soak over time. And then they're building the school actually right next to it, so it'll be for Killip School still for their fields. So in general, cheesy to say, but making some lemonade out of lemons. At least in certain circumstances.
Well, no, I think it's a great idea, and at least it's something, and like we talked about, people having to climb over sandbags or just doing simple things like bringing their groceries or like you mentioned, having to utilize a wheelchair to get back home. They're in a position where it's like, okay, well, the sandbags are annoying, but if I don't have them, I'm not going to be able to live there after this flooding event. But it's great to see that there are a lot of good ideas going towards the mitigation of this, and not just, well, let's increase our sandbag usage, and I think the idea with Killip Elementary School really opening up another park and that in itself is going to allow for a lot more people to just enjoy that area, and then it'll help with the flooding as well when that happens. If you want to more information about the city, flagstaff.az.gov is their website. You can give them a call at 928-213-2000. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Flagstaff Mayor Paul Deasy right here on Countywide. Don't go anywhere.
Terrifying jobs. Bull rider, take 2. Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
Two things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B Homes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. On today's show, we are talking about the city of Flagstaff with Flagstaff Mayor Paul Deasy. We talked in the first segment about what got him interested in the position of mayor, and we moved on to the museum burn scar area, which caused a lot of flooding issues, but it sounds like there's some great mitigation happening within the city as long as they get the funding, and hopefully they will be getting that funding to help ease sort of the flooding issues that we've seen in Flagstaff. But Mayor Deasy, some other mitigation, some more minor stuff. We saw some green lanes put in place throughout the city to sort of help with a lot of the bicycling traffic through downtown and just through some of the busy parts of the city. How is that going to help reduce injuries? And what are some other benefits to having those lanes just throughout the city?
Yeah, really excited about this pilot project right now we're doing. So back in May, we had a very tragic accident that occurred with 6 individuals, prominent community members, people I knew pretty well, got hit, and it was a really terrible accident, but it was a wake-up call for us. A month later, through funding, we were able to get this pilot project funded and then recently established. It would have been happening a few months ago if it wasn't for a darn supply chain issue. But yeah, we were all the way down Beaver Street, which is from the medical center all the way to North Campus, and then on Butler Avenue, which is from Milton all the way to basically the police station. We created some cement barriers with candlesticks, which are the little things that stick up with the reflectors on top, to help mitigate some of the dangers that our bicyclists face. We're really trying to move towards a different concept of transportation that we've seen in other cities that have been very successful about protected bike lanes, more options for bike ped, while trying to reduce a little bit more of the reliance on vehicles, because you know what? We can reduce traffic by getting people off the road and on a bicycle. So that's good for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But this came with certain challenges, which I was excited the staff was able to figure out. For example, our snowplows, right? How are we going to deal with this situation in winter? Well, we are now going to be using bobcats on the bike lanes and with snow blowers that blow it into the street, followed by street plows that then push it into the center. And then if it gets too big, we're going to haul that snow out of the median to ensure that we now finally have a time when we're not, bike lanes are inaccessible during the winter so often with cinders and ice. Right. So hoping this new method works. But again, this is a pilot. We're really trying new things here. We're seeing what works, what doesn't. And I think that's one of the benefits of local government, is we can really try these things out and see if it works.
Well, again, if you want some more information about the city of Flagstaff, visit flagstaff.az.gov or give them a call at 928-213-2000. Mayor Deasy, thank you very much for taking the time to come onto the show and give us an update about Flagstaff.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's going to do it for this episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo, wishing you a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.